Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. Right here in the live studios of the Haven, Hive, Southeast England, on the English Channel. We're going to call it new BBT team audiobooks or whatever. Anyway, I'm a little late today. I'm sorry. I had some ecstatic conversations with God-brothers, and particularly one with Vaisheshika Prabhu that was very, very enlivening. And I'm fired up. But I want to start right in. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur glorified the Sri Caitanya-caritämrta in a very poetic way, not to be taken literally, not to go out and throw our Bhagavad Gitas in the ocean and the Caitanya-caritämritas. No, but it's a way of glorifying Caitanya-caritämrta, to put it into the proper perspective. He said, in due course, Mahäprabhu, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or, if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. For if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage, because after the flood has subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. So, we're in the middle of chapter 20 of the Madhya-lila, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami. Lord Chaitanya has just explained all about Krishna, his position, the position of all of his different expansions and incarnations. And now Sanatana Goswami, the last thing that he talked about was the Yuga avatars, right? And listen to this. This is so wonderful. Text 50. Sanatana Goswami had been a minister under Nawab Hussain Shah, and he was undoubtedly as intelligent as Brihaspati, the chief priest of the heavenly kingdom. Due to the Lord's unlimited mercy, Sanatana Goswami questioned him without hesitation. 351. Sanatana Goswami said, I am a very insignificant living entity. I am low and poorly behaved. How can I understand who is the incarnation for this age of Kali? Purport. This verse is very important in reference to the incarnations of God. At present, there are especially many rascals prevalent in India who proclaim themselves incarnations of God or goddesses. Thus they are fooling and bluffing foolish people. On behalf of the general populace, Sanatana Goswami presented himself as a foolish, low-born, poorly behaved person, although he was a most exalted personality. Inferior people cannot accept the real God, yet they are very eager to accept an imitation God who can simply bluff foolish people. Memo to Trump. All this All this is going on in this age of Kali. To guide these foolish people, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu answers the question as follows. I'll read the question again, just to remind you. Sanatana Goswami said, I am a very insignificant living entity. I am low and poorly behaved. How can I understand who is the incarnation for this age of Kali? Text 352. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, as in other ages, an incarnation is accepted according to the directions of the Shastras. In this age of Kali, an incarnation of God should be accepted in that way. Purport. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the way an incarnation should be accepted. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Sadhu Shastra Guru Bhakya Chittete Kariya Aikya. One should accept a thing as genuine by studying the words of saintly people, the spiritual master, and the Shastra. The actual center is the Shastra, the revealed scripture. If a spiritual master does not speak according to the revealed scripture, he is not to be accepted. Similarly, if a saintly person does not speak according to the Shastra, he is not a saintly person. The Shastra is the center for all. Unfortunately, at the present moment, people do not refer to the Shastras. Therefore, they accept rascals as incarnations, and consequently, they have made many incarnations into a very cheap thing. Intelligent people who follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions and the instructions of the Acharya, the bona fide spiritual master, will not accept a pretender as an incarnation of God. In Kali Yuga, the only incarnation is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Imitation incarnations take advantage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord appeared within the past 500 years, played as the son of a Brahmana from Nadia, and introduced the Sankirtan movement. Imitating Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and ignoring the Shastra, rascals present themselves as incarnations and introduce their rascaldom as a religious process. As we have repeatedly said, religion can be given only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From the discussions in the Caitanya-caritämrta, we can understand that in different ages, the Supreme Lord introduces different systems and different religious duties. In this age of Kali, the only incarnation of Krishna is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he introduced the religious duty of Kali Yuga, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. 353. Lord Chaitanya is continuing. The Vedic literatures composed by the omniscient Mahamuni Vyasadeva are evidence of all spiritual existence. Only through these revealed scriptures can all conditioned souls attain knowledge. Purport. Foolish people try to concoct knowledge by manufacturing something in their brains. That is not the real way of knowledge. Knowledge is Shabda Praman, evidence from the Vedic literature. Srila Vyasadeva is called Mahamuni. He is also known as Vedavyas because he has compiled so many Shastras. He has divided the Vedas into 4 divisions, Sama, Rig, Yajur, and Atharva. He has expanded the Vedas into 18 Puranas and has summarized Vedic knowledge in the Vedanta Sutra. He also compiled the Mahabharata, which is accepted as the fifth Veda. The Bhagavad Gita is contained within the Mahabharata. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is also Vedic literature, Smriti. Some of the Vedic literatures are called Shrutis, and some are called Smritis. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.101, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidim Bina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpata Yaiva Kalpate. Unless one refers to Shastra, Shruti, Smriti, Purana, and so on, one's spiritual activity simply disturbs society. There is no king or government to check people, and therefore society has fallen into a chaotic condition as far as spiritual understanding is concerned. Shall I read that again? Shall I? There is no king or government to check people, and therefore half of them can't wear a mask during the pandemic. Oops, that's a little edit on my part. I'll go back again. There is no king or government to check people, and therefore society has fallen into a chaotic condition as far as spiritual understanding is concerned. Taking advantage of this chaotic condition, many rascals have appeared and proclaimed themselves incarnations of God. As a result, the entire population is indulging in sinful activities such as illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Out of many sinful people, many so-called incarnations of God are emerging. This is a very regrettable situation, especially in India. 354. An actual incarnation of God never says, I am God, or I am an incarnation of God. The great sage Vyasadeva, knowing all, has already recorded the characteristics of the avatars in the Shastras. Purport. In this verse it is clearly stated that a real incarnation of God never claims to be a real incarnation. According to the symptoms described in the Shastra, one can understand who is an avatar and who is not. Text 355. The Lord does not have a material body, yet he descends among human beings in his transcendental body as an incarnation. Therefore, it is very difficult for us to understand who is an incarnation. Only by his extraordinary prowess and uncommon activities, which are impossible for embodied living entities, can one partially understand the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.10.34. By two symptoms, personal characteristics and marginal characteristics, the great sages can understand an object. 257. Bodily features, nature, and form are the personal characteristics. Knowledge of his activities provides the marginal characteristics. 358. In the auspicious invocation at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva has described the Supreme Personality of Godhead by these symptoms. 359. Janmad yasya yaton bayad iteratas charteshu abhigyas swarat ten he brahma rida ya adi kavaye muhyanti yat suryaha tejo vari mridam yata vinimayo yatra sri trisargo mrisha dam na swena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam padam dhimahi. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna, because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifest universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire, or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Jayadvaita Swami for editing that verse. Purport. This verse, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, links the Srimad Bhagavatam with the Vedanta Sutra with the words Janmad Yasya Yataha. It is stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, is the absolute truth beyond the material creation. This has been accepted by all acharyas. Even Shankaracharya, the most elevated impersonalist, says in the beginning of his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, Narayanat Pado Vyaktat. When this material creation is not yet manifested from the Mahatattva, it is called avyakta. And when it is demonstrated from that total energy, it is called vyakta. I'll read that again. When this material creation is not yet manifested from the Mahatattva, it is called avyakta. And when it is demonstrated from that total energy, it is called vyakta. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond this vyakta, avyakta, manifested and unmanifested material nature. This is the chief qualification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he assumes a particular incarnation. Krishna tells Arjuna that although they both took birth many, many times before, Krishna remembers everything about his previous appearances, but Arjuna does not. Since Krishna is beyond the cosmic creation, he is in the exalted position of being able to remember everything in the past. Everything within the cosmic creation has a material body, but Krishna, being beyond the material cosmic creation, always has a spiritual body. He imparted Vedic knowledge under the heart of Brahma. Although Brahma is the most important and exalted personality within this universe, he could not remember what he did in his past life. Krishna had to remind him through the heart. When Lord Brahma was thus inspired, he was able to create the entire universe. Remembering everything about the past and inspiring Lord Brahma to create are vivid examples of the characteristics called Sarupa Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. Text 360. In this invocation, this is Lord Chaitanya speaking, answering the question of Sanatana Goswami, how can we recognize the avatar in Kali Yuga? Lord Chaitanya continues, in this invocation from Srimad Bhagavatam, the word Param indicates Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the word Satyam indicates his personal characteristics. 361. In that same verse, it is stated that the Lord is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of the cosmic manifestation, and that he enabled Lord Brahma to create the universe by infusing him with the knowledge of the Vedas. It is also stated that the Lord has full knowledge, directly and indirectly, and that he knows past, present, and future, and that his personal energy is separate from Maya, the illusory energy. Text 362. All these activities are his marginal characteristics. Great saintly persons understand the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the indications of the two characteristics known as Sarupa and Tatastha. All the incarnations of Krishna should be understood in this way. At the time of their appearance, the incarnation of the Lord, at the time of their appearance, the incarnations of the Lord are known in the world because people can consult the Shastras to understand an incarnation's chief characteristics known as Sarupa and Tatastha. In this way, the incarnations become known to great saintly persons. 364. Sanatana Goswami said, this is too cool. This is too cool. 364. Sanatana Goswami said, the color of the personality in whom the characteristics of the Lord are found is yellowish. His activities include the distribution of love of Godhead and the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. 365. Kali Kali se Krishnavatara Nishchaya Surida Kariya Kaha Yauka Sangshaya. The incarnation of Krishna for this age is indicated by these symptoms. Please confirm this definitely so that all my doubts will go away. So Sanatana Goswami is trying to catch Lord Chaitanya in the very description that he just gave of himself. This is far out. Purport. Sanatana Goswami wanted to confirm the fact that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation of Krishna for this age. According to the Shastra, in Kali Yuga, the Lord would assume a golden or yellow color and would distribute love of Krishna and the Sankirtan movement. In accordance with the Shastra and saintly persons, these characteristics were vividly displayed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it was therefore clear that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an incarnation of Krishna. He was confirmed by the Shastras, and his characteristics were accepted by saintly people. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not escape Sanatana Goswami's argument, he remained silent on this point, and thereby indirectly accepted Sanatana's statement. By this we can clearly understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the direct incarnation of Lord Krishna. And we can also understand, this is my comment, sorry I'm not reading now, that we can understand Sanatana Goswami's position, just how senior he was. He was a senior disciple. Even though we are Rupanugas, we are known as Rupanugas, but Sanatana Goswami was in the same category. 366. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "O Sanatan, you must give up your intelligent tricks. Now just try to understand the description of the Shakti-avesh avatars." So Lord Chaitanya confirmed it indirectly, subtly. It's right here in the Shastra. 367. There are unlimited Shakti-avesh avatars of Lord Krishna. Let me describe the chief among them. Empowered incarnations are of two types, primary and secondary. The primary ones are directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are called incarnations. The secondary ones are indirectly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are called vibhuti. 369. Some Shaktivesh avatars are the four Kumaras, Narada, Maharaj Prithu, and Parashuram. When a living being is empowered to act as Lord Brahma, he is also considered a Shaktivesh avatar. 370. Lord Shesha, in the spiritual world of Vaikuntha, and in the material world, Lord Ananta, who carries innumerable planets on his hoods, are two primary empowered incarnations. There is no need to count the others, for they are unlimited. 371. The power of knowledge was invested in the four Kumaras, and the power of devotional service was invested in Narada. The power of creation was invested in Lord Brahma, and the power to carry innumerable planets was invested in Lord Ananta. 372. The Supreme Personality of Godhead invested the power of personal service in Lord Shesha, and he invested the power to rule the earth in King Prithu. Lord Parashuram received the power to kill rogues and miscreants. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Puritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. Sometimes the Lord invests his power to rule in a king like Prithu, and enables such a king to kill rogues and miscreants. He also invests his power in incarnations like Parashuram. Text 373. Whenever the Lord is present in someone by portions of his various potencies, the living entity representing the Lord is called the Shaktivesh avatar. That is, an incarnation invested with special power. Purport. This verse is found in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita 1.18. As explained in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has spread himself all over the universe in many personalities through specific powers known as vibhuti. The expansion of specific powers is explained in purport. The expansion of specific Maya powers is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7, 239. Yad yad vibhuti, text 375. Yad yad vibhuti mat satvam Srimad urjitam eva va tat tadeva begachatvam me mamate jong shasam babam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from a spark of my splendor. This is a statement made by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 10.41. Atava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjana vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekankshena stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Purport. This is also a statement made by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 10.42. Text 377. Thus I have explained specifically empowered incarnations. Now please hear about the characteristics of Lord Krishna's childhood, boyhood, and youth. 378. As the son of Maharaj Nanda, Lord Krishna is by nature the paragon of Kaishora, youth. He chooses to exhibit his pastimes at that age. 379. Before his personal appearance, the Lord causes some of his devotees to appear as his father, mother, and intimate associates. He then appears later as if he were taking birth and growing from a baby to a child and gradually into a youth. 380. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally enjoying himself, and he is the shelter of all kinds of devotional service. Although his ages are various, his age known as Kishora, pre-youth, is best of all. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.1.63, text 381. When Lord Krishna appears from moment to moment, he exhibits his different pastimes, beginning with the killing of Putana. All these pastimes are eternally being demonstrated one after another. Text 382. The consecutive pastimes of Krishna are being manifested in one of the innumerable universes moment after moment. There is no possibility of counting the universes, but in any case, some pastime of the Lord is being manifested at every moment in one universe or another. That means that as soon as one pastime of Krishna here is finished, that same moment it begins in another universe, and so on. Thus the Lord's pastimes are like the flowing Ganges water. In this way all the pastimes are manifested by the son of Nanda Maharaj. 384. Lord Krishna exhibits his pastimes of childhood, boyhood, and pre-youth. When he reaches pre-youth, he continues to exist eternally to perform his rasa dance and other pastimes. Purport. This comparison made here is very interesting. Krishna does not grow like an ordinary human being. Even though he exhibits his pastimes of childhood, boyhood, and pre-youth, when he reaches the age of pre-youth, Kaishora, he does not grow any older. He simply remains in his Kaishora age. He is therefore described in the Brahma Samhita 533 as Nava Yovana, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktao Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This Navayovana, or pre-youth, is the eternal, transcendental form of Krishna. Krishna never grows older than Nava-yovana. 385. Descriptions of Krishna's eternal pastimes are in all the revealed scriptures, but one cannot understand how they are continuing eternally. 386. Let me give an example by which people may understand Lord Krishna's eternal pastimes. An example may be found in the zodiac. 387. The sun moves across the zodiac day and night and crosses the oceans between the seven islands, one after the other. 388. According to Vedic astronomical calculations, the rotation of the sun consists of 60 dandas, and it is divided into 3,600 palas. The sun rises in steps consisting of 60 palas. 60 palas equal one danda, and 8 dandas comprise one prahara. 390. The day and the night are divided into 8 praharas, 4 belonging to the day and 4 belonging to the night. After 8 praharas, the sun rises again. 391. Just as there is an orbit of the sun, there is an orbit of Krishna's pastimes, which are manifested one day after the other. During the lifetime of 14 Manus, this orbit expands through all the universes, and gradually it returns. Thus Krishna moves with his pastimes through all the universes, one after another. Text 392. Krishna remains within a universe for 125 years and enjoys his pastimes both in Vrindavan and Dwaraka. The cycle of his pastimes turns like a wheel of fire. Thus Krishna exhibits his pastimes one after the other in every universe. 394. Krishna's pastimes, appearance, childhood, boyhood, and youth are all manifested, beginning with the killing of Putana and extending to the end of the Madhya-lila, the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. All of these pastimes are rotating in every universe. 395. Since all Krishna's pastimes are taking place continuously, at every moment some pastime is existing in one universe or another. Consequently, these pastimes are called eternal by the Vedas and Puranas. 396. The spiritual abode known as Goloka, which is a pasturing land for Surabhi cows, is as powerful and opulent as Krishna. By the will of Krishna, the original Goloka and Gokula Dhamas are manifested with him in all the universes. 397. The eternal pastimes of Krishna are continuously taking place in the original Goloka Vrindavan planet. These same pastimes are gradually manifested within the material world in each and every Brahmanda. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur elucidates this complicated explanation of Krishna's pastimes. Krishna's pastimes are always present in the material world, in one of the many universes. These pastimes appear in the universes one after the other, just as the sun moves across the sky and measures the time. Krishna's appearance may be manifested in this universe at one moment, and immediately after his birth, this pastime is manifested in the next universe. After his killing of Putana is manifested in this universe, it is next manifested in another universe. Thus, all the pastimes of Krishna are eternally existing, both in the original Goloka Vrindavan planet and in the material universes. The 125 years calculated in our solar system to be Krishna's lifetime equal one moment for Krishna. One moment, these pastimes are manifested in one universe, and the next moment, they are manifested in the next universe. There are unlimited universes, and Krishna's pastimes are manifested one moment after the other in all of them. This rotation is explained through the example of the suns moving across the sky. Krishna appears and disappears in innumerable universes, just as the sun appears and disappears during the day. Although the sun appears to rise and set, it is continuously shining somewhere on the earth. Similarly, although Krishna's pastimes seem to appear and disappear, they are continuously existing in one Brahmanda, universe, or another. Thus, all of Krishna's Leelas are present simultaneously throughout the innumerable universes. By our limited senses, we cannot appreciate this. Therefore, Krishna's eternal pastimes are very difficult for us to understand. One should try to understand how they are taking place by understanding the example of the sun. Although the Lord is appearing constantly in the material universes, His pastimes are eternally present in the original Goloka Vrindavan. Therefore these pastimes are called Nitya-lila, eternally present pastimes. Because we cannot see what is going on in the other universes, it is a little difficult for us to understand how Krishna is eternally manifesting His pastimes. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma, and this time calculation is also taking place in other universes. Krishna's pastimes are manifested before 14 Manus expire. Although it is a little difficult to understand the eternal pastimes of Krishna in this way, we must accept the verdict of the Vedic literatures. There are two types of devotees: the sadhaka, who is preparing for perfection, and the siddha, who is already perfect. As far as those who are already perfect are concerned, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 4:9, Tyaktva deham punar janma naitimam iti sorjuna. After giving up this material body, such a devotee comes to me. After leaving the material body, the perfect devotee takes birth from the womb of a gopi on a planet where Krishna's pastimes are going on. This may be in this universe or in another universe. This statement is found in the Ujjvala Nilamani, which is commented upon by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. When a devotee becomes perfect, he is transferred to a universe where Krishna's pastimes are taking place. Krishna's eternal associates go wherever Krishna manifests his pastimes. As stated before, first the father and mother of Krishna appear, then the other associates. Quitting his material body, the perfect devotee goes to associate with Krishna and his other associates. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahäprabhu ki jai. 398. Krishna is complete in the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha. He is more complete in Mathura and Dwarka, and he is most complete in Vrindavan, Braja, due to his manifesting all his opulences. Purport. This is confirmed in the following three verses from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 2.1, 221 to 223. 399. This is stated in the dramatic literatures as perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. Thus Lord Krishna manifests himself in three ways: perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. 400. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not manifest all his transcendental qualities, he is called complete. When all the qualities are manifested but not fully, he is called more complete. When he manifests all his qualities in fullness, he is called most complete. This is the version of all learned scholars in the devotional science. 401. The most complete qualities of Krishna are manifested within Vrindavan, and his complete and more complete qualities are manifested in Dwarka and Mathura. 402. Lord Krishna is the most complete Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan. Elsewhere, all his expansions are either complete or more complete. Thus I have briefly described Krishna's manifestation of transcendental forms. This subject matter is so large that even Lord Ananta cannot describe it fully. In this way, Krishna's transcendental forms are expanded unlimitedly. No one can count them. Whatever I have explained is simply a little glimpse. It is like showing the moon through the branches of a tree. text 405. Whoever hears or recites these descriptions of the expansions of Krishna's body, let me repeat that. Whoever hears or recites these descriptions of the expansions of Krishna's body is certainly a very fortunate man. Although this is very difficult to understand, one can nonetheless acquire some knowledge about the different features of Krishna's body. Sri Rupa Raghunatha Padayara Ash Caitanya-caritämrta Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Sanat and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Caitanya-caritämrta following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Caitanya-caritämrta, Madhya-lila, 20th chapter, describing how Sanatana Gosvämi met the Lord at Varanasi and received knowledge of the absolute truth. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Gosvämi ki jai. The glorious pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in all of His various features, especially His pastimes that are most perfect in Goloka Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Okay, that was a mouthful and a mindful. We have this saying lately, mindfulness. So this is the real manifestation of mindfulness, filling your mind with the pastimes and understanding of Krishna's pastimes. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here for tonight for the reading, and we'll turn to our reflections and comments and discussions. Hare Krishna.
There's a question.
Wait a second, our brahmachari has fallen off the chair in ecstasy and he's having to pick himself up, find the microphone and get into gear. Okay, let's go.
There's a question from Krishna Premavati Devidasi.
Haribol Krishna Premavati Devidasi ki jai.
Referencing verse 382, does that mean that Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are also continuing on some other universe, following Lord Krishna's?
Yes. Next.
It's a comment from Yadutama.
Yudutama.
He says, Hare Krishna Gurudev, my obeisances to you and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I couldn't help thinking about the old adage, actions speak louder than words, when it was being described that a real incarnation never admits that he is actually the Lord. And then this made Sanatana Goswami's question so much sweeter. Hare Krishna, thank you for giving us a chance to hear this properly.
Well, that's not exactly true. When Krishna appears, he declares himself in the Bhagavad Gita to be the source of everything. But he's the only one that does. That makes him complete. That makes him most complete. And Lord Chaitanya especially is called Chana Avatar, or the covered incarnation, and therefore he'll never admit it, even when he gets caught by Sanatana Goswami. But he did acknowledge it. Next, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Premavati says, thank you, Maharaj. Your reading these pastimes in the association of devotees makes them so much more relishable.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
There's a question here from Braj Balaba.
Hey Braj, Haribo.
He says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai, Haribo.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Does this mean at a certain point when we are purified enough, we can be transferred to the pastimes in another universe of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, or even Lord Kalki? Does this happen prior to leaving the material world?
Yes. We get the final training. We have to be trained. We get some practice here, but then we have to be trained. We have to appear in Lord Krishna's pastimes, and then they be trained by the eternal associates of Krishna. Next, Hare Krishna.
Brian Phillips says, "Wow, what a feast of nectar you served us all this evening." Thank you so much, Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, I'm just a peon trying to deliver the mail, as I always say.
And Gopakanya Devidasi says, "We are all very fortunate to hear from you daily, plus extra mercy."
Hare Krishna. Well, we just heard, those who recite or hear get an opportunity to understand the Lord's pastimes and go back to Godhead. It's unlimited mercy. It's unbelievable mercy that we're getting, that Prabhupada gave us. And this is the true proof of Prabhupada's position, that he could give us this in this language at this time on the earth. Hare Krishna.
Rati Manjari says, "Jai Guru Maharaj, steady in BBT land, sharing the bliss."
Thanks, Rati, thanks.
Saloni Sachi Sundari
Saloni Sundari, Hare Krishna.
says, "Hare Krishna Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, all glories to your divine service."
Hare Krishna.
From Noel
Bhakti Noel, Hare Krishna.
says, "Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I am so very grateful for the ability to hear you read these transcendental texts to us each day."
Hare Krishna. Well, I am even more fortunate to be able to do that, to be able to read them to you every day.
Rajvalabha says yes in all caps.
Hare Krishna.
Brian Phillips says, "What a golden opportunity." And Krishna Premavati Devi Dasi says, "Srila Prabhupada ki jai."
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a lovely reading tonight, and it was so special, especially that intimate exchange between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanätana Goswami, in which Sanätana Goswami tricked Lord Chaitanya into admitting that he was Krishna. That was too much. Beautiful, wonderful. Wait, we've got something else before we sign off.
A question from Rati Manjari.
Rati Manjari, I knew that there was something more coming here. Took her a little time to type it.
She says, "Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. If we need to be trained in a universe where Krishna or Lord Chaitanya are performing their pastimes, how does this relate to Lord Krishna's statement that he says that one who leaves his body remembering me does not take birth again but returns to my abode?"
There's no difference between Krishna's abode here in the material world and Krishna's abode in the spiritual world. Period. So you are returning to Krishna's abode when you take birth in his pastimes anywhere in the universe. They're non-different. Hare Krishna. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Samabeda Bhaktabinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur, Prem, Manandi, Hari Hari Bol. See you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same station, and we'll be beginning more of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami in chapter 21. Hare Krishna. See you then, tomorrow.
One last question. Just came up from Rajmala.